Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today I've got a ladder game. It's not a ladder game, that's a lie, it's a best of one game. I'm not quite sure where it's from, but it is between two amazing players, so let me introduce them. In the top right position as the blue Protoss, we do have Minigun. His opponent in the lower left as the red Zerg player, it is Scarlett. So two really good players. I'm really looking forward to this ZvP. It should be absolutely incredible. And of course, I've actually gone for the first time, as long as I can remember pretty much, about 48 hours without having done a cast. Now, I know that may not seem like a very long amount of time, but when you're used to casting near daily, having a 2 day gap without casting is pretty big, and it was all because I did a massive chunk a few days ago, which basically all had to upload, so that was good fun times. Now, let's talk a little bit about this game. What can we expect these two players to be doing? Well, Minigun, as we can see already, has got the pylon down here on the low ground. Daybreak is a large map with a long rush distance, and you can get away therefore with going for a Nexus first. Alternatively, if you want to be a bit safer, you can go Forge first, but because of this pylon here, we know it's going to be either Nexus or Forge. If the pylon was up in the main base, it could be a gateway expand, but on Daybreak, it's really not a good map to do that on, just due to how far you do have to get to your opponent. Meanwhile, Scarlett should get a spawning pool any second, and there we go, it's coming down now. 15 pool, should be a quick expansion after that, and then hopefully we'll see a base come down at the third at roughly 4 minutes 20 is a nice timing to try and hit there. And the reason we'll be seeing that is just so Scarlett can stay a base above her opponent, and ultimately, there are some 2-base plays you can go for, but I don't really feel this is the right map to go for. The rush, because of the rush distance, just because of how easy it is to scout it by holding these two watchtowers, it can be a bit awkward, and I don't think you can deal the damage you need to do. Very few Zerg players actually like going straight for a 2-base aggressive play because it's very all-in. If you don't deal significant damage to their economy, you're going to be so far behind that it'll be near impossible to come back from. In terms of what Minigun could do, a 2-base play is really quite viable on this map. Immortal Sentry all-in is always going to be a threat. You can potentially go for some Phoenix harassment as well. It's not ideal, but again, Daybreak, it's a really balanced map in the sense that nothing is too strong and nothing is too weak. We do see that a Nexus came down before the Forge, so Minigun clearly going for all-out economy, trying to make the utmost of his advantage he can get from going for a Nexus first, and that means that Scarlett, having got these 4 Zerglings out, is going to need to take that 3rd base as soon as possible, so may even cut some things in order to get it down, and looks like that's what's going to happen. We should see that it starts now, so it's coming down very, very quickly, and due to the fact that she got these 4 Zerglings out, it means that there's going to be a few drones less than you normally tend to see, because a couple would have been cut in order just to get that down, because if you get the 4 Zerglings out, you're usually aiming for about the 4 minutes 20, 4 minutes 30 mark. So as we can see now, this wall off is completed by that pylon because 4 Zerglings is enough to be irritating. The cannon wasn't quite finished. Now the cannon is done though, this pylon should get cancelled. Loving what Scarlett's doing with these Zerglings, just keeping them around here. I always think that unless you're really confident with what you're going to be doing, leave a Zergling around here, purely because then you can see when your opponent moves out with anything. Also hold the watchtower. What Scarlett's going to do is try and find this probe, so done that very well. Checking for any kind of proxy pylons that could be coming down. This probe should go down. It'll be pretty close though, but obviously it's got a couple of turns to make, and every time it makes a turn, it will take a shot from Zergling. So that is bad times. Is it going to make it? Come on, little probe. You can do it. You can be the little probe that could, and it is going to be able to get away. So that is a lucky probe right there. Meanwhile, back for Scarlett's base. 3rd nearly up and running. This is all looking fairly normal. Droning, nothing other than drones, no gas. They should be coming up in about the next 10 supply, roughly. We've got 2 gas out for Minigun, and of course the Cyber Core just finishing up. So this is where we can really see a reveal of what the Protoss player will be doing. No +1 started yet. That's something that you always want to be checking out for. We need to be checking out these gas timings. It's why a lot of Zerg players will leave an Overlord in this position, just in order to get that information on the gas. For the moment though, 1 Zeta just going to push forward, try and retake the watchtower. Scarlett isn't actually doing much in terms of watching them for the moment, just happily droning up behind this, getting a handful of Zerglings out now, as well as the first 2 gas. This is just to make sure that she's safe against, say, 1 Zealot, 1 Stalker harassment or similar. Here comes down the +1, as well as the robotics facility for Minigun. That clearly means that, hey, a Mortal Sentry all-in is quite probable. It's something that is certainly a possibility. Also, it doesn't rule out the idea that it could be a War Prism coming in here just to go for a War Prism drop into the main with some sentries. As you can see, third and fourth gas coming down. We've also got lair timing at a very normal point. The evolution chamber hitting. These couple of, well, this Zealot and Stalker are going to try and poke in, but on creep, they're not going to be able to do too much. It's not, this is ultimately just to try and force your opponent to make some Zerglings. So, Minigun achieving the aim of getting some Zerglings forced, reducing the drone number slightly. If we look here, they are still pretty similar. And all while you force these speedlings, or rather Zerglings at this point, you're in a good spot. Now, the Twilight Council coming out is quite interesting, because if this was going to be just an Immortal Sentry push, we wouldn't be seeing the Twilight Council yet. It's not required for the push, and it's only going to be needed to get +2 out. So clearly, Minigun going for the longer game. We do have the Zerglings managing to clean out that Zealot and pushing the Pylon back, so clearly Scarlett in this situation a little bit concerned about what could be coming. The Rotron is now finished up. We do, of course, have this Pylon about to go down as well, so that is great news, and the Stalker should be able to make it back because obviously speed is not yet done. Warp Gate Tech finished up, the cannon pushing everything back. Scarlett getting Scout out on the forward, does not see the robotics facility yet. The Overlord is there, but unfortunately cannot see that robo, which is of course getting an observer out. There's more gateways coming down in the main, but none of this is really gearing up to be super aggressive. There's nothing we've seen. The Immortal only just coming out now. We've got the double upgrades on their way. This is a longer term plan as opposed to a short-term win attempt. So for Scarlett, getting a Spire down as well as the macro hatch, but this Observer is going to get a complete scout out of everything. Know that Spire is coming down. And with that, we should see Blink get started fairly shortly because, of course, we do have this Twilight Council down, and Blink is a great way to deal with Mutas. The third base is coming down now from Minigun as well, and there's Blink started just as I thought it would be. The fourth base now from Scarlett because, of course, she scouted out with this Speedling positioned at the expansion that, hey, my opponent is expanding, I need to stay at least a base up, so gets that down. Also double expanding up here, and that's due to having not an ideal drone count at this point due to all these Zerglings coming out, and we can see the Zerglings actually trying to get a good number of kills here, managing to pick off 2 sentries and may even force a cancel on this Nexus. If this Nexus is cancelled, it's going to put Minigun in an awkward spot, and there we go. Of course, Scarlett getting a big win there, really using these Speedlings effectively. Those sentries are low on energy, and just getting a few sentry kills, we can see has really affected how many resources have been lost for the Protoss player in this situation. The double expansion coming down, though, is great from Scarlett, who's also getting out those Mutalisks now. We've got the War Prism on its way. In terms of how effective those Mutas are going to be, the answer is very. There is only one Stalker on the field. That is just going to be insanely hard to defend with, and even though Minigun's seen this come down, he's just putting one cannon in the main, nothing at the natural. So with that, with this cannon coming down here, of course Minigun isn't going to be in huge problems unless Scarlett really commits to the Muta numbers. And as we're seeing, we've got them coming across now. We're already up to 10. There's 2 more on the way. They're going to be able to tank down a cannon quite easily. So a second cannon I'm glad to see coming in here, as well as some more Stalkers warping. This is going to make defending it really quite simple. The Mutas will have to be very, very careful. But Scarlett is definitely committing a lot to this by getting the +1 flyer. We've got the Zerglings trying to come back into the third base, but with these double cannons here, with the gateway wall off, it's not going to be enough to really threaten it for the time being. But with the Muta support as well, this could actually be quite good for Scarlett. The Force Wheels do try to go down, but of course the sentries will get targeted by the Mutas, and as we're seeing, getting a couple of sentries with Mutalisks is always going to be an absolutely beautiful trade. Scarlett most likely going to just pull out after picking off that sentry. Did lose a couple there, and actually lost quite a bit more than her opponent in that trade, but picking off the sentries is obviously going to be a big win for you. In terms of upgrades, we do have 2-1 already finished, 3-2 on their way, but a great little Contaminate coming down here from that Overseer. Something you don't see used often enough, but it's a great way to delay upgrades and keep you in the game. Of course, Scarlett just expanding everywhere, getting the 6th expansion now already, and with that, she's really going to be pulling ahead. She's already 2 bases up, going to be 3 bases up to 92 drones, using these Mutas to force the Protoss army back, to give her the option to take these bases and really expand everywhere, because if you're defending, you can't really be attacking that well. So Scarlett just showing superior multitasking at the moment. The upgrades are still running again. In terms of tech, there's not actually that much out for Minigun at the moment. There's the upgrades and the robotics facility, but no sign of Colossi yet, no sign of High Templar yet, no sign of Archons, obviously, and due to that, with the Dark Shrine coming down, Scarlett's actually got a nice little window where she could take the tech advantage. Upgrades are coming down nicely. We've got the stalker count getting quite a bit higher just in order to try and defend against these mutas. So Scarlett's entire play is about delaying her opponent's tech, and by delaying that tech, she's able to take a lot of expansion. So when she chooses to go up to Hive Tech, get Broodlord Infestor out, it's just hopefully going to be so much stronger. Now, as we've got now, a good little put-in. Sniping off that Pylon was absolutely brilliant, preventing the Stalker walk-in, allowing a good amount of damage to be done here. The Stalkers do get a forward blink, getting a couple of Mutalisks there. Looking at the resources lost, still relatively even. Of course, the big thing is the 94 drones. That's just giving Scarlett such an insane income, able to produce anything and everything she wants, yet still, even with what is an absolutely huge amount of minerals and gas coming in a minute, still staying incredibly low on resources. So really spending that money cost effectively. Is maxed out now though, and in we go with a lot of mutas. Good blink micro trying to come down from these stalkers, but without any sentries, we do see the Zerglings are able to get some good connects. A stream of banelings coming in, and with this, so many stalkers are starting to die, and I think Scarlett is going to be able to take this right now. So boom, GG, well played. And Scarlett really did engage incredibly nicely there. An awesome manners minigun with a good game, well played. Thanks for having me. So, if you did enjoy the cast, everyone, make sure you like the video, make sure you leave a cool comment, and make sure you do subscribe as well, because I'll catch each and every one of you, hopefully, for a new game tomorrow. Bye for now.